Oh look, it's a Jimny!
This here is the Suzuki Jimny. And yes, it's popular. Previously known decades ago as the Suzuki Samurai, the Jimny has carved out an identity of its own. And with its identity comes a huge cult following that makes this little Jimny larger than life. This particular variant we have here is the Rhino Edition. And if you're the type who wants to have a Jimny but you feel overwhelmed with the overall customization scene of this ride, you should take a good look at this.
Did you know it only takes 20 minutes to wash a Suzuki Jimny? It's that small and simple.
You see, with Jimnys, you can build and rebuild things with this car to change the overall experience of it. Now, as much as many like to keep it stock, the Jimny also does well in getting personalized. You can change the wheels, the bumper, add height to it, and the ride is perfectly fine. But if you want a Jimny that looks distinct from the showroom, the Rhino Edition is a great way to go.
With the Suzuki Jimny Rhino Edition, you are getting a lot of aesthetic upgrades when it comes to this ride. And that can be seen in your front grille and as well as your decals and badging all throughout this vehicle. The front undergarnish and the side undergarnish also gets the Rhino treatment and as well as the mud flaps down below to complete the overall Rhino experience that this Suzuki Jimny has.
Looking at the Jimny Rhino Edition from the outside, and you'll notice how much of a Jimny this car is. It is still the modern SUV with that nice and retro look. Nothing major has changed with the Jimny compared to the one launched back in 2019. And if you want more space, remember that this Rhino Edition variant is also available in the 5-door variant of the Suzuki Jimny. But just when you think that the Jimny Rhino Edition is all about just the looks, well, think again.
Now with your R15 tires here, the Jimny also has a ladder frame chassis and solid axles both for the front and also for the rear. And with the underbody of the Jimny and with the Jimny the way it is, it can do something like this. Switch to 4 low, off the drive, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, today's light off-road coursing here at the farm is a bit muddy. It's been raining these past few days and this will be an essential if you're gonna be getting yourself an off-road vehicle, or off-road vehicles are rather essential for situations like this. Now, this is where you really want to have your 4x4, and you know what? The Suzuki Jimny is a great option to have if you do need an off-road vehicle car. Now, as you can see, I'm turning the wheel a lot, but you know what? I'm actually just trying to go in a straight line right now, and that's because of all of the mud. The thing is though, with the Jimny though, there's not a lot of traction loss here, and that's mostly because of your grip that you do have with this vehicle. Now, it pays to be calm, especially if you do go off-roading, because again, the terrain is not always going to be consistent, unlike on a paved road. Now, you have a ladder frame chassis and solid front and rear axles with your SUV, and you're going to want that especially if you do go off-roading. You have a very generous approach, departure, and breakover angle when it comes to the Jimny, even at stock. So if you do customize on this vehicle, you have a lot to work with. Now, the ease of maneuverability of this car, because it's a small SUV, it's very nimble and easy to move around, and the steering input, it's just right. The visibility, it's beautiful. So driving this car off-road will not be a problem for you. Now, where can I find a car wash?
Under the hood, the Suzuki Jimny carries a 1.5-liter gasoline engine that is set to give you 102 PS of power and 130 Nm of torque, all paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission.
Yes, it's still the same K15B engine that the Suzuki Jimny has been known to have. Simple and reliable, durable and efficient, and very much workable in the long run should you want to customize. Now, with this ride, you gotta remember one simple detail when it comes to the K15B engine. This is also seen in other cars from the Suzuki lineup. So, how does the K15B engine match in today's times? Now, first of all, when it comes to city driving, this is a pretty smooth and easy car to have around. It does more than just a job. Now, in terms of acceleration, in terms of torque, it's very linear and it's very smooth and easy to have around. And you'll like the acceleration from this car coming from a standstill because it's very zippy and very light as well. And this particular Jimny here has the 4-speed automatic transmission. But if you want a different kind of engagement to your Jimny, I suggest that you get the 5-speed manual. That's also a lot of fun. With this ride though, in terms of fuel economy figures, you're looking at around 12 to 14 kilometers per liter in mixed driving conditions between city or highway. And lastly, when we're talking about practicality for the Suzuki Jimny, because of this car's overall size, its height, the big windows that you have, parking should not be a problem.
If you're not too aware of the Jimny, allow us to give you some of the numbers when it comes to the 3-door edition. This ride is 3,650 millimeters in length and as wide as 1,645 millimeters. When it comes to height, you have 1,725 millimeters and you have an overall wheelbase of 2,250 millimeters.
Now, if you want a bigger Jimny, I do suggest the 5-door Jimny Edition. But if you're a purist, this is the way to go. You'll love the 3-door in terms of its size and in terms of its overall practicality. And with this SUV, as an off-roading purist, you're gonna like the approach, breakover, and departure angle that you do have because it's very generous even in its stock configuration. With the Rhino Edition the way it is though, there's a bit of distinction in terms of design, and you like that with this ride because it's a Jimny, again, it's very customizable. But with this ride though, at its current setup, what you like is that you have a very generous turning radius at 4.9 meters, making U-turns an easy thing to do. Now again, you gotta remember that the Jimny is customizable, so your numbers on the exterior could change depending on your preference. But do remember though that with the Rhino Edition, it's also available in the 5-door Jimny and it's also available in 3 color options. The only place where you really want to be sitting with your Suzuki Jimny is right here in the driver's seat. And with this ride, you can really notice how this car is positioned to be a modern classic. Now, with the Jimny, you have a key here for your ignition, far away from the usual push buttons that you get from other SUVs, and that's a very nice and nostalgic touch. With that, you also have an analog driver's display here, very similar to retro SUVs, so you're gonna like that touch. But you do have a modern touch with a digital display in the middle. Now, the analog displays that you do have, again, it looks very 90s because of the amber lighting that you do have. But here in the middle, you do have an information display that shows your temperature outside and as well as your time and your fuel economy, all right there. And if you need more technology, you have a center screen right here in the middle with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and wireless connectivity. And if you need some more off-roading information, all of it will be right here on display. Now, down below is your gear shift and your transfer case. And no, you do not need to use a clutch pedal to be able to use your transfer case. Just remember that 2 high is for regular driving, 4 high is for high-speed off-roading, and 4 low is needed if in case you need to do some rock crawling. Now, one more thing you have to get familiar with the Jimny is that if you're used to an SUV with door-mounted switches for your windows, it's not there. Your power windows are actually positioned right here in the middle. So that's a nice and new touch. Takes some getting used to after your first day. Other buttons here in the middle as well is for your traction control and as well as for your hill descent control.
If you need to use the seats in the back, remember that it's on the functional side. Easy in and easy out is a good concession and it's a bit of a Spartan experience in the back. It is ideal for kids or short trips only. But one thing the passengers in the back will like is the generous headroom and the large windows giving the passengers a comfy point of view.
The spare tire of this SUV is in the back, very similar to SUVs from the 90s. Now, with this ride, you always have a cute little antenna up on top and down below are your rear taillights. Now, going back to the tire here in the back, now let's talk about 2 things first of all. 2 things about this tire that may fascinate you about it. Now, first of all, why is it here? It's a nice touch to have, especially for added insulation or protection if in case you get rear-ended in any accidents. And one more thing, does it affect visibility? No. Want to know why? Because there's a backup camera down below. Now open your rear door and this is what it looks like here in the back. Now with this configuration, you have to be mindful of how you open your door and where you park your Jimny. And with the seats in back in place, this is what cargo looks like for your ride. And if you need to carry delicate items, you have a compartment down below. With this ride though, if you want more space, you have to sacrifice your 2 passengers here in the back. And once you do fold that, you have so much space for your items. And with that, in terms of your material, again here in the back, it's all very much easy to clean. If it gets dirty or dusty here in the back, just wipe it down with a wet rag and you're gonna be perfectly fine. Now, if you're gonna be looking for a Jimny that carries more than 2 passengers with plenty of cargo space in the back, I suggest that you get the 5-door edition. And you gotta remember, the 5-door is also available with a Rhino package. Admittedly, I'm a bit of a Jimny purist. Now, when I was in high school, I was a huge fan of the Jimny. As a matter of fact, I was actually dreaming of having one as a college car for me to take to and from school every day. I love the overall size and practicality that this SUV gave you. And even in its stock configuration, it's a pretty nice car to have around. Now, over the years after college, I was actually fortunate to be able to try out a few Jimnys here and there. And some stock and some weren't. and this was life before the media. But you know, one Jimny experience I can't seem to forget was the one back during the pandemic when I was helping out a few guys with their off-roading shops back at Kawayan Isabela, and they allowed me to go off-roading in a 2002 Jimny. Now that car was pretty cool. It had a 4-inch lift, it had bumpers all around, a winch, it also had an HKS exhaust system and a racing clutch. And you know, where we took that Jimny was immeasurable. It was just a lot of fun. Open roads, a lot of mud, a lot of steep climbs, and a lot of steep descents, and a lot of river crossing. And you know what? I enjoyed that car a lot. The biggest part of that car that I enjoyed the most was the engagement that the 5-speed manual did give me. And so after that, I was a little bit biased to the 5-speed manual. Eventually, it makes me realize that with the Jimny, you end up with a bit of a dilemma. Do you get the 5-speed manual for the open road engagement, or do you get the 4-speed automatic? Which is a good thing to have, especially if you're going to be stuck in traffic. And you know what? With the 4-speed automatic or the 5-speed manual, remember that no matter what transmission you get, you will enjoy the one simple fact that the Jimny has a very reliable engine and transmission, so that being able to work around it will not be a problem. And if you customize, hey, that's gonna be a lot of fun. So when Suzuki Philippines gave me the keys to the Suzuki Jimny Rhino Edition a few days ago, a few core memories did come to mind for me. A few core memories of a simpler time when I really loved the Jimny. I still do actually. And I love it for all of those reasons. And you know, with the Rhino Edition, the way it looks, the way it's set up, it just makes me wonder about the memories that may come along after today's shoot. So when all of this is said and done, and when I have to return this Jimny to Suzuki Philippines, I think I'm gonna have a tough time with that.